On the 1st of December 2010, Mmi Holdings was listed on the Johannesburg Stock Exchange, the largest exchange in Africa and among the top 10 in the world. The JSE has a market capitalization of over $182 billion US. The listing of Mmi Holdings came after the successful conclusion of the merger between Metropolitan and Momentum. At the time of listing, Mmi Holdings was the third largest listed insurer on the JSE. The months that followed a joint cautionary statement on the 31st of March 2010 were marked by a comprehensive due diligence process and applications for approval by the relevant regulatory authorities, such as the Financial Services Board and the Competition Tribunal. The chief architects mandated to put the first part of the complex puzzle together were Metropolitan Group Chief Executive Wilhelm van Zyl and Momentum Group Chief Executive Nicolaas Kruger.
The landscape, how did the landscape change over the past 13 years? Look at the insurance entities that existed as separate companies, 20 of them in 1998, and you take a guess how many of them are left as separate entities today. You will see only 9 of the 20 are left as separate entities. And what's MMI today includes a couple of them, Southern, Momentum, Metropolitan, Sage, Commercial Union, Protea. So MMI actually quite a conglomerate of quite a few.
Not every day that we still in the very concentrated financial services world get an opportunity to recreate a new group on a scale like we're doing this. So I think that's a very exciting point. And I think therein also lies the strength that we have now going forward for MMI is in the diversity. I mean, we bring different things to the table that can actually be very useful in terms of forming building blocks for the way forward as we look at putting MMI together in a sense, but in its various business units and taking the various capabilities.
I'm very excited about the merger. There's no doubt about it. The focus that it gives the group, each division is focused on a specific market. I'm now, as a retail head, be able to focus on one market and compete effectively without having divided attention.
There's greater accountability. You've got nowhere to hide. You're competing in the big league, and as a consequence, only the best will survive.
Momentum was established in 1966 and over the years has become one of South Africa's leading insurance-based financial services companies. It has distinguished itself through the creation of a wide range of innovative products and service excellence, targeted at the middle to upper income markets. In line with its positioning to believe in people who believe in themselves, Momentum affords its clients choice in their journey towards success. There are 3 Momentum branded divisions: Momentum Retail, Momentum Investments and Momentum Employee Benefits.
Everybody's on board knowing exactly what they need to do to grow the business. So how we grow distribution channels, how we really understand our customers' needs and position ourselves as a market leader in the consumer space in South Africa, leveraging the Momentum brand as such, making sure we deliver on our technology solutions. I think it's exciting times and some exciting growth prospects waiting for the business.
In the employee benefits environment specifically, as I said just now, the Momentum operation was definitely more focused on the SMME side, so the small and medium corporate side. The Metropolitan business was much more focused on the large corporate side. Because we follow a market segment strategy, it was a very neat fit to take the strong sides of each one of the 2 parties and build them into our market segment strategy.
Metropolitan is over 110 years old, promoting the ideal of Together We Can. Metropolitan's vision is to create prosperity for Africa's people, placing affordable financial growth and security of people and communities at the core of its offerings. In this way, adding value to African lives, primarily in the lower and middle income markets. Metropolitan has dominated its market through its administration excellence, underpinned by the spirit of Ubuntu, trust and performance. There are 3 Metropolitan branded divisions: Metropolitan Retail, Metropolitan Health and Metropolitan International.
We combined Momentum Africa's operations, which were largely health operations in 10 countries. We integrated those businesses under International with the Metropolitan International businesses, which were largely life-focused businesses.
We have a focused leadership running Metropolitan as a brand in the market, and we have a focused leadership running Momentum. So I think the customer expectations and alignment will be achieved.
In this way, Metropolitan and Momentum will now rely on each other. A key piece of the jigsaw is to make the vision a reality. Mmi Holdings is an investor brand. It will exclusively focus on the investor community and key stakeholders. Its reason for being is to enhance shareholder value. It also embodies the core values of the Mmi Group that act as the glue that binds its operating divisions.
We pull the golden thread out of all those. We've got a very unique capability and a very exciting time to recreate and actually build an organization that can blend those. And I do think the two ways of doing business need each other, so we can blend that actually to have a very significant path forward.
We want to continue with both the Momentum Metropolitan brands, and I'll explain why. What the executive committee did is we said, well, when Momentum Metropolitan got together, we said, well, let's now split the total business in divisions according to target markets or product ranges. And in fact, we came up with 6 separate divisions. MMI, or the MMI staff would include the 6 divisions plus the center.
So together, Metropolitan and Momentum will cover the entire market, forming a single powerful entity that offers immense growth opportunities, economies of scale, revenue and cost synergies, together with a significant footprint in Africa. The merger rationale was based on transforming Mmi into a single large financial services group.
I would say that what we bring to the table is that we are now one of very few companies in South Africa in the financial services industry that can offer solutions across the entire market segment. So from the emerging market segments, people that are still entering the financial services environment, to people that are upper income premium market segment, from individual to group. So we have broad scope and breadth of services.
But the challenge will be to integrate the cultures and optimize synergies amongst the staff of Metropolitan and Momentum.
3 things that I think the merger got right. First was the swift appointment of leadership in the form of ExCo. The second thing that the merger got right was putting in place an integration team, yes, including the appointment of a chief integration officer. And with that, also the provision of the roadmap of what the integration, the post-merger integration was going to be doing. And the third thing was very, very important, was the constant communication by the group CEO to all the internal stakeholders.
An integration victory can only be declared when the business is running on a single line of systems per division. And that challenge lies on the desk of Dani Buertis.
The most important thing is that when we create a business model and you employ the different staff and the skills in the composition of your ExCo, we need to ensure that the different business units make sure that they appoint a diverse workforce.
The process of combining 2 or more organizations into a single entity involves several organizational systems, such as people, resources, and tasks. The process of combining these systems is known as integration.
When you look at all the case studies of mergers all over the world, in fact, particularly also in the financial services, retaining your key talent is one of the most important things, because obviously when you bring 2 companies together, what you're wanting to do is to blend all the talents that each company brings in.
We follow a very, very prudent and a formal process and a bottom-up process to determine the strategies of the different business units. I think that helped.
MMI Group Chief Executive Officer Nicholas Kruger and the MMI Exco embarked on a national roadshow to position MMI's vision and strategy to its employees.
Since the creation of MMI Holdings with the integration process, and that was very complex and involved many action steps. But what's very important now for us is to engage face-to-face with our various stakeholders, and that clearly includes staff. So I'm really looking forward to engaging face-to-face with the staff of MMI Holdings.
The roadshow travelled the length and breadth of South Africa, reaching more than 7,000 employees in 13 cities. Not all staff were convinced that it was a merger. Some felt it was a takeover.
Honestly say to you, this is a merger. I think I've been, as I said to you earlier, I've been at the start of this, of the discussions, negotiations, go all throughout the process of getting us to the announcement. It was always a merger. It was looking at what ultimately is best for the merged MMI.
I think from day one it's been positioned, and from an intent perspective also seen as a merger. The dynamics of the MMI group is of such a nature that that should be the approach.
Well, I think that the staff have actually received it as a merger. We've taken great pains to manage it as a merger. One of the things that you will see that shows it as a complete merger and not a takeover is when we laid out our Exco. It's a perfect balance, 50-50 representation from the ex-Metropolitan and ex-Momentum sides.
And of course, many staff believe that a stronger, bigger business would translate immediately into greater personal income.
Mr. Nicolaus. I'm listening. Yes. I've seen on the slide there, we are making billions for the company. But how about us, the agents? Are we still going to have the same salaries or bonuses, or are we going to be getting increments for them?
These and many other staff concerns were answered by the CEO and the MMI Exco members during the roadshow. MMI is blazing a trail in South African financial services. Even media reports have been positive.
When Nicholas announced it at the first press conference and the first conference we had with some investor analysts online, they asked the question, why took you so long? They asked Nicholas and Velelen, what took you so long to come together? So you could see right from the beginning, from the 31st of March, that it was an understanding that it made sense to happen.
In its first few months, the MMI Exco gelled with ease and achieved numerous milestones. The Exco leadership structure was identified, and here is the Exco organogram. Since the merger became official, the first few months were always going to be challenging. But how fast and how easily could the new MMI Exco become one family?
I think we all understand the urgency of bedding this down, because, you know, in any merger there's lots of uncertainty.
If you take the Momentum and the Metropolitan values and you compare them, you'll see they are very similar. So what happened to us as a team was we very quickly found that we hold the same principles and values and beliefs.
We are brought together by a common purpose. We put together MMI strategy as a team. Everybody contributed towards that strategy, and as a result, we've come together very quickly as a team.
Shortly after the merger happened, I think we as an Exco needed to get together in order to start crafting or formulating the broader MMI strategy, and I was quite impressed with the speed at which everyone got on the same page in crafting that strategy.
MMI Holdings has 4 strategic pillars: in-depth market knowledge, innovative solutions, effective distribution, and an entrepreneurial culture. And those pillars cannot function without the all-important values of MMI, which will help determine the organization's culture over time. The people of MMI selected the values through a survey process determining the path of growth for MMI Holdings. The business model has the potential to unlock a wealth of synergies. So what were some of the milestones that the Exco achieved in the last year? Our branding principles announced in March, our first interim results presented in April, our group strategy approval by the board in May, our first CEO staff roadshows in July and August, our first set of annual results in September, of which we are very proud. MMI's vision is to be a leader in meeting financial services needs. We meet clients' needs by providing a range of appropriate value for money financial solutions in its market segments. To achieve this, MMI will use insight into the needs of its clients, strong client-facing brands, and the ability to innovate and to provide excellent service. The group will operate primarily in South Africa, other African countries, and selected international markets. MMI will continue to explore possible opportunities in emerging economies around the world.
I think for us, the two companies was a huge event in the financial services landscape in South Africa. Not many large organizations that merge make a success of it in South Africa.
MMI's game-changing strategy will establish the company as a leader, enable it to deliver sustainable shareholder returns.
Where do we want to go as a total MMI group? We say we want to be a leader in meeting financial services needs of our clients.
When you can enhance individual success with community values of Ubuntu, then you have the key part of the jigsaw to not only a successful business, but to a highly sustainable one as well. Within society, success is seen as the achievement of a purpose, often related to wealth or status. And that's how the pieces of the MMI puzzle fall into place. The magic of MMI.